I remember the last month that I served in prison. That was in the last full month that I served in prison was July 2023. In fact, it was 10 years ago from where we are right now. Today is July the 9th, 2023. I started working this morning around 4 in the morning, and I've been filming these videos for the past 4 hours, I guess. It's 8 o'clock in the morning right now, and I'm just about to go for a long run because that is one of the ways that I set goals. Is I know that sometimes I have to set goals to push myself and motivate myself to go to the next level. And while I was in my last month of prison, I was a real runner in prison, particularly toward the end of my journey. I think it was like the last 4 years or so of my sentence. I really stepped up my running because it was one way for me to feel as if I was controlling my own destiny. I hated running before I went to prison. You know, I was just not a very disciplined person as a young man, but in prison I learned to discipline myself, and I'd set goals and I'd strive to hit those goals. And I remember at the end of my term, I was typically running at that time 380 to 420 miles a month, and I'd set a goal, okay, I'm going to break that and I'm going to hit 500 miles during this month of running. And I'd set that goal like on June the 27th or something like that. And I told my wife, Carol, I said, I'm gonna hit a really long running goal for my last month of prison. As I'm gonna hit 500 miles. And you know, if you do the math on 500 miles, there's 31 days in the month of July. You can kind of reverse engineer it. And that's what I used to do. I'd reverse engineer my way to getting what I wanted to do. And so I knew I had to run, you know, so many miles every day. I don't remember what that number was, but I could pretty easily do the math right here on a calculator and go 500 miles divided by 31. And so I had to average about 16 miles a day. It's more than 16 miles, which I could do. But there were some days I knew that there would be a bit of a challenge because on a visiting day, I'd spend time with my wife. So I understood that. So I'd always try to exceed that 16 days. In case something happened, I would have a fallback. And I think and I would measure it every day. And I could always tell if I know I've got to do 16.2 miles a day, well, then in 2 days, I need to have 32.4 miles. In 4 days, I've got to have like 60, 65, 66 miles in. Well, by the time I got to like the 7th or the 8th day, I was way ahead of schedule because I was probably averaging 25 miles a day. And I got to the 7th or 8th mile. I said, well, I'm going to crush this goal. So I upped it to 700 miles by the end of the month. And in order to get that, there's no way you can hit that unless you are very disciplined in goal setting. And I had become a master at writing down goals and holding myself accountable and doing all of the steps that I'm trying to tell you to do. Think about your goals and put priorities in place. Make sure that they're specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound, and then work to exceed those goals. That worked for me. Let's turn now to lesson number 27 on goal setting. And the vocabulary word of the day is goal setting, which is the process of identifying specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound objectives that guide and motivate individuals toward desired outcomes. Lesson content. So Rudy and I met during the final 5 years of my sentence. Rudy had already served 15 years when we met, and he anticipated release within 2 years. We worked together on the farm at a minimum security camp in Lompoc, California. Like Rudy, I was in the final years of my prison term. While we were on the job, we met Lee. Lee owned a large business employing more than 500 people. He served a relatively short sentence for a tax-related offense. While the three of us worked together on the farm, Lee offered career advice to us. He recommended that each of us begin to write our goals. If we wrote specific goals and put clear timelines on those goals, we'd become more effective at making progress that would help us succeed upon release. Recognizing that Lee had a lot of wisdom, I embraced the advice he offered. I showed him my goals, describing the accomplishments I intended to make during the final 5 years of my imprisonment. On the other hand, Rudy said he didn't need to write down his goals. He said he would figure out the steps to take once he got out. He didn't see any value in writing goals. Later, when I got out, I began building advocacy campaigns. Through that work, I had to profile people who faced challenges after their release from prison. By working with community groups, I saw Rudy again. As a homeless man, Rudy said he participated in the group because he had so many challenges trying to get on his feet. After we parted ways, I remembered that conversation the three of us had during the time we spent working at that prison farm in Lompoc. Had Rudy listened to guidance from Lee, he could have set goals. Those goals may have led to better outcomes. The salient point is that regardless of where we are, we can always work to set specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, and time-bound goals. Goal setting is a fundamental skill for personal development. It involves defining and planning objectives that serve as guideposts for our actions and motivate us to achieve desired outcomes. By mastering the art of goal setting, we can create a clear roadmap towards success and maximize our potential. Understanding the concept of goal setting is essential for personal development. Specificity. Goals should be specific and well-defined. By clearly articulating what you want to achieve, you create a target to focus your efforts and actions upon. Specific goals provide clarity and serve as a compass for your journey. Measurability. Goals should be measurable, allowing you to track progress and determine success. Establishing quantifiable criteria ensures that you can assess whether you are moving closer to your desired outcomes or if adjustments are necessary. Measurable goals enable you to celebrate milestones along the way. Achievability. Goals should be realistic and attainable. While it is important to set ambitious goals that challenge you, they should also be within the realm of possibility. By setting achievable goals, you build confidence and maintain motivation throughout the process. Relevance. Goals should align with your values, aspirations, and overall vision for personal development. They should be meaningful and relevant to your individual circumstances and desires. Relevance ensures that you stay engaged and committed to pursuing your goals. Time-bound. Goals should have a defined time frame or deadline. Setting specific timelines creates a sense of urgency and helps prioritize tasks. Time-bound goals enable you to manage your efforts effectively and prevent procrastination. So here are some questions for you to think about when you're contemplating goals. How do you understand the concept of goal setting? Why is goal setting important for personal development, particularly during imprisonment? Share an example of a goal you set for yourself in prison. How did goal setting contribute to your personal growth and progress? How can effective goal setting help you prepare for a successful life after release? What strategies can you employ to enhance your goal setting skills during your time in prison? And here is your activity. Think about a long-term goal you want to achieve after your release. Write it down and break it into smaller, actionable steps. Consider the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound aspects of every step. Create a timeline for achieving each milestone. Reflect on a goal you set in the past and achieved. Write down the steps you took to accomplish it and how goal setting played a role in your success. Identify any challenges you faced and how you overcame them. Share your experience with the class to inspire others. Now remember, goal setting is a powerful tool for personal development and progress. By setting clear, actionable goals and applying the principles of specificity, measurability, achievability, relevance, and time-bound aspects, you can pave the way for success. Embrace goal setting during your time in prison as a pathway to a brighter future. Now, let me first scroll down to the bottom of the page so I can share with you our address. It's Prison Professors, 32565 Golden Lantern, Suite B1026, sunny Dana Point, California, 92629. And then I want to tell you a little bit about my goal setting right now. So I've emphasized the importance I place on working toward reforms that will incentivize excellence, right? I'm a big believer that as a society, we can improve our system of justice if we incentivized you to prepare for success after release. So I don't only want you going through the course, I want to give you a pathway to build hope and inspiration and to believe in yourself and to see yourself achieving your highest potential. That starts with really setting goals. Remember, in my earlier portions of this course, I talked about how I define success. It was going to be able to leave prison when I get out with my dignity intact, with opportunities to prosper. I wanted to make sure I could go into any room and no one would judge me for being in prison. In fact, nobody would even know I served a day in prison unless I told them, because I wanted to get out of prison unscathed and ready to prosper. That was how I defined excellence. Okay? But I also needed those very clear goals. And for me, the goals were, okay, I have to focus on getting an education. And so within 10 years, I want to get a university degree. I want to focus on building a support network. And so within 10 years, I want 10 people that I don't know to become my advocates and believe in me and join me. Within 10 years, I want to make sure that I have contributed to society in meaningful, measurable ways. And I defined that by publishing. I wanted to become a published author. And if I could do that, I believed I would have a better shot of preparing for success after release and opening opportunities. And it worked for me. And so that's kind of the nature of my whole business development process. And then I began really working inside of prisons and trying to bring these courses into prisons, because if I want to change the system, I first had to change myself, and then I had to show other people how they could change their lives, and then I had to document that, and that's one of the reasons I'm asking you to go through our surveys so that our researcher at UCLA can measure, are we building hope? Are we inspiring people? Are we showing people a pathway to engineer their own release plans? Are they setting goals? Are they living a values-based, goal-oriented life? Are we reducing, incident reports in prison and lowering the prospects of recidivism and increasing the prospects of success upon release? Right? All of these things we have to measure. Goals help us do that. In fact, I'm going to flash some pictures on the screen here, if I can, to show you the work that I do and how I go into prisons. And then I'm going to talk to you about my goal that I'm going to hit after this video. So let me see if I can switch over to the images. So there's a picture of me presenting inside of a training center for the Federal Bureau of Prisons, which I find to be somewhat ironic that I'm a guy who served a lot of time in federal prison, and now I get to go into the system and teach other people why it's so important to prepare for success after release. That's a picture of me standing with several of the leadership team inside the Bureau of Prisons. And here I am with the regional director for the North Central region, which oversees 31 federal prisons. That is just really quite an extraordinary accomplishment for me to be able to share time with these leaders in the Bureau of Prisons who are helping me spread the importance of preparing for success after release. To think that any of them would allow me to go into institutions like this one here and start teaching the class. And I'm just so grateful to all of these teachers who are allowing us to go into the prisons and learn and show them why it's important to learn. There I am with several people inside of a United States penitentiary who are focused on learning and preparing themselves and interacting with wardens and from all over the nation and working with them to help them understand why we need incentives inside of prison. So I'm super grateful to be able to share these messages. There's a very good friend of mine. His name is Warden Williams, and the former director of the Bureau of Prisons, Hugh Hurwitz. All of these people are helping me advance arguments for more programs that incentivize a pursuit of excellence. That's why I live in gratitude, and that's why I'm asking you to become a part of this coalition. Start documenting your stories. Set very clear goals, and you will achieve a higher potential. Now, while I've been out building all of these things, I've put on about 10 pounds that I need to lose. So that is a new goal of mine, to lose those 10 pounds. And the only way I can do it is to have these very clear, specific, measurable, action-oriented, realistic, time-bound goals. I am going to go out right now. It's now 8:30 in the morning here in California on Sunday. You can see the date. Actually, I could just show my iPhone. I don't know how I'm going to be able to show it to you, but I'm going to try. There, if you could see it, it says 8:31 on Sunday, July the 9th, 2023. I've been out at it, working hard since about 4 o'clock this morning, but I'm going to take a little break right now because I have only 3 more videos, I think, to film. And so I'm going to go down to the track. I usually set a goal of doing at least 10 miles. Today, I'm going to do at least 12 miles, and I'm going to record it. You see how it's specific? It's specific. 12 miles I'm going to run. It's measurable. I know I've got to put one foot in front of the other until I get through 12 miles. Definitely requires action. It's realistic. I know I can do it, and it's time-bound. I'm going to get it done today, and then I'm going to come home, and I'm going to knock out the last 3 videos of this course for preparing for success after prison. My challenge for you is set a clear goal and then go out and crush it. Now, again, I want to thank the Bureau of Prisons. I want to thank IDOVO. I want to thank the California Department of Corrections. And I want to thank you for allowing me to come in here and bring these programs into you. If you don't have access to an abundance of content, look at the IDOVO Premium channel, because we offer a lot of premium courses there that will help people prepare for success. And we also offer a lot of free courses as well. At Prison Professors, we have them all available in our store. But I just want you to invest in yourself. And now I've got to go out and crush my goal, which is what I'm about to do. Be well. I am Michael Santos, and I believe in you.
So we set a goal of hitting 10 miles. I think it was 12 miles we hit today. We just kept going. It was such a beautiful day. We had the ocean breeze right here. This is sunny Dana Point. It's called Doheny Beach. I'm about 3 miles from home. So anyway, we've left half a marathon today, 13.1 miles. And back home now to go continue filming videos that I hope will help people really appreciate the importance of setting goals and then working your hardest to overcome those goals. That's a strategy that I learned from leaders while I was in prison, and as you can see, it's one that I'm still using today. I'll try and encapsulate some of the ocean here because I know how important it is to get a view of the ocean. You can see the California palm trees behind me, and this is the beautiful sandy beach here that I'm coming up on right now. The sun is finally coming out. We've had a little bit of overcast morning, but now it's supposed to be much nicer. And typically if it was hotter, I would jump in the ocean right now. But I gotta get home and I've got to finish these final videos for our course. I'm really looking forward to sharing it with all of you, because I believe in you and I want you to reach your highest potential. I am Michael Santos, founder of Prison Professors, and thank you for being a part of our community.